It's the long-awaited start of the Memorial Day weekend. The first outdoor weather, beach weather of the season. Well, not in New York. It's kind of crummy this weekend. But in Florida, it's always beach weather. Come on down. At Lone Depot Park in Miami, welcome to Friday Night Mets on Pix 11. Tonight, the Mets play the Miami Marlins. Mets come from D.C. where they split 4 games, and Bo Bichette really got rolling, 9 RBIs in the 4 games against the Nats. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets open a 3-game series against the Miami Marlins. You know, the Mets are the high-budget, big-market team. The Marlins are the small-budget, small-market team. But it's the Mets who tonight have an all-rookie outfield, the earliest in the season the Mets have ever started an all-rookie outfield in their 65 seasons.
You know, it's crazy, Gary. You fans at home thought the makeover was with the start of the season with a whole new roster of players. But now there's a redo on the original, and that's all these young players that have brought a lot of life, energy, and excellence. When you think of them, Morabito only playing his second game, he had that great catch, went into the stands for it. Of course, Benj has been here all year. He just keeps getting better and better, and Ewing couldn't be any better in his first 10 games.
As for the Marlins, they had a 16-game improvement last year, but they've kind of stagnated because their pitching hasn't been really good, but they've had some breakout stars on the offensive side.
Well, they really have. When you think of Xavier Edwards and Otto Lopez up the middle, Otto's not starting tonight. They're as good a second base shortstop combination as there is in all of baseball. Liam Hicks with 42 RBIs. When I saw that number, it jumped off the page early this season because they don't score a ton of runs. But their pitching, especially starting pitching, has to get better.
Mets and Marlins separated by just a half game in the standings as they open a weekend series, first meetings of the year. It's the Mets and Marlins in Miami. All the action coming your way on Pix 11. Brought to you by Lincoln, by AAA Northeast, providing trusted roadside assistance, travel services, discounts, insurance, and financial services for over 120 years. By Cambridge Paving Stones, with Armor Tech, your outdoor dreams come true. And by New York Presbyterian, with world-class doctors from Columbia and Weill Cornell Medicine. Stick around after the Mets-Marlins game next Friday at Citi Field for a fireworks show, weather permitting. Get your tickets now at Mets.com/fireworks. Which brings us to the themes of the game, brought to you by Bet365.
Oh, start the party with Tobias Myers. They're going to bring the guys in the truck to Live nightclub. They'll have a blast on Saturday. Walks on the beach. It can be more romantic than that. For Yuri Perez, it hasn't been very romantic facing the Mets. South Beach Runs. That's an interesting title. It can mean a lot of things. But 42 RBIs for Mr. Hicks.
Stay away from the tacos. Tobias Myers getting the opening assignment. Maybe Jonah Tong's season debut. He's been activated. All inside at Lone Depot Park. Mets and Marlins first pitch coming up.
He's just keeping the ball away from Bohr the whole game. He wants to get it.
There, ball behind the back flip, and he got him. Oh, wow. It's so easy for Cologne right now that he's able to put some mustard on it. You know, there was so much to that man. There was so much fun to watch.
He gave us so many memories in a short time.
See, he was playing first base?
Yes.
Eric Campbell, our favorite. Beautiful day on the beach today. It's always a beautiful day on the beach in Miami.
So beautiful.
And it's so beautiful outside, they decided to keep the roof closed. Oh, and turn off the lights.
They turn them on every once in a while.
Look at that beautiful expanse of Atlantic Ocean.
I mean, the beach water temperature at the ocean is so beautiful right now.
Carlos Mendoza's team coming off a 2-2 series in Washington and facing the Marlins for the first time this year. There's your New York Lottery starting lineup, and you see the 3 rookie outfielders, Benj, Ewing, and Morabito, together in the lineup for the first time at any level in the Mets system. And by far the earliest the Mets have ever had an all-rookie starting outfield in their history.
Well, Yuri Perez is going to make the start. His last 5, he's 0-5. He's given up 19 earned runs and 26 2/3. You can see the walks have been a problem. This guy throws hard, though, as hard as any right-hander in the game, and you'll see plenty of fastballs. The Toyota defense for the Marlins. Joe Mack is an outstanding defensive catcher behind the plate. Really good pop time under 2. Ruiz, Marcy, and Casey are in the outfield. Norby Sanoha is playing today. Otto Perez, he's got a little issue with his bicep. Xavier Edwards, who's having a great year, and Liam Hicks. Kudos to him, 42 RBI.
A couple of rookies on the field there in Mack and Casey. The last time the Mets saw Yuri Perez, they were getting their last win of the season. In game 161 last year, they beat him on the penultimate day of the season, only to have the Marlins shut them out on the last day and keep the Mets out of the postseason.
Perez did strike out 11 in his 5+ innings of work, so there was some success there.
Clayton McCullough improved the Marlins record from 62 wins in 2024 to 79 last year. They got off to a good start this year, but Miami's lost 12 of their last 18 because their starters have been, well, frankly awful. And the Mets will try and keep them in that hole with Carson Bench to lead off. Bench has been a red-hot hitter. And Yuri Perez's first pitch of the night is a fastball in for a strike, and we're underway. Bench over the last 26 games is hitting .347 with an .854 OPS. He's just gotten better and better since being moved up to this leadoff spot. And he smacks one in the air to center field, chasing Marcy back to the warning track right near the fence, and he makes the leaping catch. Boy, we saw a lot of that last year when Jacob Marcy came up to the big leagues late in the season. He played some tremendous defense against the Mets, and he turns in a beautiful play on the second pitch of the game.
Boy, I thought Benj centered this ball, but Marcy came out of nowhere to just clip it off the wall and hold on to it. He was playing towards right center, which helped him make this catch, which is interesting because most center fielders play towards left center against Bench.
So one hard out and nobody on. Here's Bo Bichette, and both fouls back a first pitch fastball at 99 miles an hour from Perez. Bo coming off a great series in Washington. He went 7 for 18, 3 homers, 9 RBIs in the 4-game series. And he grounds one on the left side. Sanoha on the backhand, and the throw is true, 2 away. Over the 18-game stretch where the Marlins have lost 12 of 18, their starters' ERA in that stretch is 7.18. Max Meyer has pitched great. Everybody else has kind of struggled.
Yeah, their record in those 18 games is 2-10 as a staff.
Here's Juan Soto, who has more hits against the Marlins than he does against any other team, 105 of them in his career. He had 3 home runs in the series in Washington. And he has a home run on his ledger against Yuri Perez in 4 career at-bats. Perez in 3 career starts against the Mets has an ERA of 10. And Soto fouls off the fastball, 1-1. Perez came up when he was just 20 years old. And he had Tommy John surgery in April of 24. Didn't get back until June of last year. He made 20 starts last season, pitched pretty well, but he's gotten off to a rough beginning this year.
Perez in his starts against the Mets, 9 innings, 10 runs, like Gary just mentioned, but also 8 walks in those innings.
He's issued the 2nd most walks of any pitcher in the National League this year. And he will mow people down for a few innings, and then all of a sudden he'll lose command of the strike zone. And it's not all that shocking for a 23-year-old pitcher who's 6'8".
6'8". He also has lost a couple years to development, or a year plus, because of that Tommy John surgery. They're waiting for the maturity to kick in.
2-2 to Soto. Vientos would be next. And it's up high 3-2. Here's my favorite Yuri Perez fact. His dad is 5'3". His mom is 5'2".
Oh, you always got a chance. You always have a chance.
6'8". Who knew? 3-2 coming to Soto. And he fouls back that fastball on his hands at 100 miles an hour.
Good catch by Joe Mack, the catcher, the carom off the net. So he didn't catch the ball fouled off by Soto, but cut it off the net.
Mack's only been in the big leagues for 2.5 weeks. They needed to upgrade their defensive catching. Agustin Ramirez had struggled so mightily they sent him down. Guy could hit but was struggling behind the plate. Mack has shored up their defense there. And Soto cracks one to deep right field. Forget that. That is way out of here. Way up in the second deck. Soto hits a bomb. His 10th of the season. His 4th on this road trip. And the Mets jump out to a 1-0 lead. A prodigious blast for Senor Soto.
It just felt like Perez just wanted to play country hardball with Soto and just keep throwing the same pitch over and over again. Fastballs right down the middle. And at some point, Soto's not going to miss. And that's one of the longest he's ever hit. I mean, watch where this pitch is. There were a half dozen of these pitches in that at bat. And he finally centers one.
449 feet on the home run from Soto.
That almost hit off that huge column.
Yep.
Almost got to the column.
Good 10 rows up in the stands in the second deck. Vientos late on that high fastball. And it's 0-2.
The crack and sound it made up here in the booth was a no doubter for us as soon as it left the bat. I mean, you can't throw a ball more center than that. He throws hard, but his ball's straight.
Vientos fouls back the slider, and it's still 1-2. Vientos has a home run in his only career at bat against Perez. This has usually been Perez's happy place. His lifetime ERA at home is 2.78. But Soto jumping on him quickly after Benj almost took him out of the yard. And now Vientos pops one up behind the plate. Mack coming back hoping for a play. And right near the railing, he's got it to retire the side. Soto's home run gives the Mets a fast start. 1-0 as the Marlins come to bat. Last year, for the 3rd time in 20 years, the Miami Marlins ended the Mets season on the final day of the season, keeping the Mets out of the postseason as they did in 2007 and 2008. Mets had a shot at it with the bases loaded. Alonso had won 113 off the bat that Javier Sanoja caught. And when Francisco Lindor grounded into the double play in the 9th inning, the Marlins had the win and the Mets had a ticket home for the winter. Hard to believe for a team that had the best record in baseball in the middle of June. Tobias Myers, the opener for the 2nd time this season. Xavier Edwards, switch hitter, leading off, and he hits the first pitch on the ground to Vientos. Myers gets over to cover, 1 pitch and 1 retired. There's your Miami starting lineup, brought to you by Audi. No Otto Lopez tonight, so Liam Hicks moves up to the number 2 spot in the batting order. Esteury Ruiz gets a rare start in left field. Joe Mack, the rookie, behind the plate. Sanoja at shortstop with Lopez out. Lopez got hit in the biceps last weekend against the Rays. He's been playing through it, but sitting today, the National League's leading hitter. Liam Hicks has had himself a marvelous 2nd season. He came to the Marlins last year as a Rule 5 pick from Detroit. Played in 119 games last year, had a nice rookie season, but he has gone off the charts to start this year. And he swings at the first pitch and fouls it off, and that'll go out of play.
Well, against Tobias Myers' split finger this year, hitters are 2 for 32. So maybe this young Marlins team is deciding not to get to the splitter and swing early.
Liam Hicks playing first base today. He's catcher by trade. Fly ball along the left field line. Long run over for Morabito into foul ground, and he makes the catch without draping himself over the sidewall. That's familiar territory already for Nick. That's the second out.
When I was watching you guys on TV, when he went in to the stands, I could barely believe it. Because the angle of the ball is like, well, he's not going to have a chance to catch that. And the next thing you know, you were 2 rows deep, and he made the catch.
There's been nothing easy about the chances that Nick has had in his brief big league career, including the inside the park grand slam that he made an enormous effort for and just barely missed catching. Connor Norby hitting third in the order. Norby playing his natural position of third base. He's been playing first base mostly this year. Came over from the Orioles along with Kyle Stowers in the deal for Trevor Rogers a couple of summers ago, and that's a deal that's worked out great for both sides. Rogers has been the Orioles' best pitcher, and Stowers had a huge year last year. Norby pulls one foul.
Well, defensively for the Mets, you'll have Torrens behind the plate. Of course, the young outfielder doesn't get much younger than Morabito, Ewing, and Benj. And in the infield, the same. Beatty and Vientos on the corners. The veterans, Bichette and Simeon up the middle.
2-1 from Myers, and he misses down with the splitter, 3-1. So before today, the earliest in a season the Mets had ever started an all-rookie outfield was July 24th of 1977. From left to right, it was Steve Henderson, Lee Mazzilli, and Joel Youngblood. The last time at any time in a season that the Mets had an all-rookie starting outfield, you got to go back to 2001. Late in the season, Timo Perez, Tsuyoshi Shinjo, and Alex Escobar started together. 3-2 to Norby with Stowers on deck, and he missed with the splitter for ball 4. So Norby's on with a 2-out walk.
It's been quite a road for Myers, and he seems to have found a home here. Drafted by the Orioles, traded to the Tampa Bay Rays. He was then traded to Cleveland. Who did Cleveland send back to Tampa Bay? A guy named Junior Caminero. And then he spent the 22 season with San Francisco, Milwaukee.
He found a home in Milwaukee, became a very important pitcher on their staff 2 years ago. In fact, started game 3 of the division series against the Mets, the game the Mets eventually won on Alonso's home run. Pitched really well in that game, and he's bounced back and forth between starting and relieving ever since. Kyle Stowers DHing today, and he flies one out to center field. Ewing back a few strides. He'll have room right at the edge of the track. Side retired. A walk and 1 left after 1. Mets 1. Marlins nothing. Time to cast your vote in tonight's Mets Optimum Fiber poll question. How many home runs do you think Juan Soto will hit this season? Scan the QR code on your screen to vote now. In our last poll 2 weeks ago, 56% of you thought that improved hitting would be the key to turning things around this season. So far, so good. If you're trying to find an answer on the Soto question, 43 last year, just at his 10th of this year.
Do the math.
Go to your calculator. Brett Beatty leading off in the second inning. Swings and misses at the fastball from Eury Perez.
To add a little to that, though, remember before he started the season last year, people said that short porch in Yankee Stadium, he'll never hit more home runs at Citi Field or in a Mets uniform.
All he did was hit a career high in home runs.
There you go.
Brett Beatty stealthily has really come alive over the last month. Last 30 games, Brett has a .381 on base percentage. And takes the curveball for a strike from Perez, and it's 1-2.
Can't even see the baseball sometimes when it's in his hands. The white disappears.
Grounded on the right side, backhanded by Hicks. The underhand flip behind Perez, but he reaches back for it and makes the play. Nicely done by Perez on a throw that was not quite on target.
Well, he needed that entire wingspan, didn't he, to make this play from Hicks. He went far to his right. I would have liked a little overhand throw, gets a little more on it, but it's behind him and he still makes the play. I mean, this is like having a young LeBron James size player pitching. I mean, that's how tall this young man is. Gates open. Gates always open here, by the way.
Well, somebody needed some beans. So they opened the go-ahead door.
There you go. Watch the catch. He's got to break it down. It's not easy to reach behind you when you're 6'8" and below your waist as well. But he puts that size, what, 17, 18 shoe on there and gets it done.
It's a very high waist. Long inseam. Marcus Semien bats with 1 out and nobody on. And takes the fastball for a strike. Semien's lifetime batting average against the Marlins is .380. His lifetime OPS against the Marlins is .1125. Little floater behind first base. Hicks going back and foul ground, and he reels it in. So Hicks all over the place. 2 out, nobody on.
What do you think of these uniform tops, Gary, for the Fish?
These are throwback uniforms that they wear every Friday. Kind of sweet.
What makes this a tough play is the roof. You know, you got to be able to find that baseball amongst all the trellises up there.
You know, I was thinking about that in terms of the Mets rookie outfield today. You've got a lot of speed in that outfield, of course, but probably none of them has ever played under a dome before. Here's A.J. Ewing taking outside for ball 1.
Before the Mets hit today, they were taking numerous fungos in the outfield, just trying to get a feel for that roof.
Ewing making his 10th start. OPS almost 900 over his first couple of weeks in the big leagues. If there's been any flaw in his offensive game so far, it's been a tendency to be a little too selective late in the count. He's taken a bunch of call third strikes, but he's a guy who's going to work the count. And takes that one low and in. 2 balls and a strike. Sean Manaea getting ready in the Mets bullpen. Everybody was expecting Jonah Tong to be the bulk pitcher today, but surprise. Carlos Mendoza played very coy before the game today as far as who was going to pitch behind Myers. Tong is here. He was activated. He's wearing number 21. Mets DFA Craig Kimbrell. And he said that was a very difficult conversation.
It's hard to DFA a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And if he clears waivers, the Mets are hoping that Kimbrell will stay in their system. That's a strike 3 and 2. I mean, he did a great job the other night. He went longer in that game in Washington 2 nights ago than he had gone in any game in his career. 2 2/3 innings in over 800 career games. Three-2 coming to Ewing, and he gets one in the air to center field. Marcy should have plenty of room on the warning track. He puts it away to retire the side. 1-2-3 inning for Eury Perez. Mets lead 1-0 in the second. Witness history on Saturday, May 30th, as Lee Mazzilli and Bobby Valentine are inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame in an on-field ceremony before the 4:10 game. Get your tickets now at Mets.com/tickets.
Really looking forward to seeing both of those guys. They're both good friends, and of course are good friends.
Got to see Bobby V out in Anaheim. He was out there. Goes to a lot of games at Angel Stadium.
I know he works or helps the front office as well. Does he do the pre and post anymore?
He doesn't do it anymore. Every once in a while he'll sub in, but yeah, that was his job for a while. Tobias Myers still out there for the second as Sean Manaea continues to loosen to the Mets bullpen. And we'll get a challenge from Luis Torrens on that ball 1 call. And it's a strike. So now it's 0-2.
Nice, Luis.
Mets have not been great at their challenges over the last couple of weeks, but that was a good one.
Simeon on the bunt in Washington was absurd.
0-2 to Marcy, who had a tremendous start to his rookie season last year, tailed off the last month, and has struggled so far in his sophomore year, although his bat has started to come alive just in the last week. He had a good series in Tampa Bay last weekend, but he's hitting just .203. Last year, in the 55 games he played for the Marlins, he had an .842 OPS. This year, .643. So he's got some ground to make up.
In those final games, he was leading off for the Marlins against the Mets.
I just remember his defense more than anything.
Yep.
He was spectacular as the Mets played the Marlins a lot down the stretch last year, not just that final series, but a series at Citi Field as well.
And the Marlins, although they won the series 7 wins to 6 in 13 games, they won 6 of the last 8, which made the biggest difference.
Esteury Ruiz on deck, and then Owen Casey. That splitter stays up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, the Marlins just pecked away that high BABIP.
Why do I always laugh when you say that? It just sounds funny.
Because BABIP is a weird word.
That's right.
It's not a word, really. It's an acronym.
Yep.
Bichette throws out Marcy for the first out. One thing about this Marlins team, you got to be on your toes because they have a lot of team speed. They lead the major leagues in stolen bases. Marcy, one of those guys who can really run, and so is the guy coming to the plate, Esteury Ruiz, who 3 years ago playing for Oakland stole 67 bases to lead the American League. He's bounced around a bunch since then. He hasn't hit much to be able to stick anywhere.
Mostly played center field for the A's in those years.
Last year he was with the Dodgers for 19 games. Traded in the offseason to the Marlins, making just his 10th start for Miami. They had Griffin Conine playing every day early in the season, but Conine is on the shelf. So guys like Perez getting an opportunity, and that just makes them a faster team. Slade McCullough now in his 2nd year managing the Marlins after coaching with the Dodgers for 10 years. Toward the gap in right center field. That's going to split the outfielders and go back to the wall. Ruiz busting for second, and he's in easily with a 1-out double. First hit of the night for Miami. 3rd double of the year for Ruiz.
Looked like a slider or cutter that stayed up in the strike zone. Hammered to right center. This is where young speed helps you too. Getting to this ball quickly and getting it in, because a person of Ruiz's speed can turn this into a triple. No problem. But nice job getting it in.
Well, now you got left-hand hitters coming up, and Sean Manaea will be coming in from the bullpen. So Myers goes an inning and a third in his 2nd opening assignment of the year, and Manaea will make his earliest entrance of the season. Sean Manaea in to face Owen Casey with a runner at 2nd, and he throws a fastball for a strike. Sean hasn't pitched since Sunday against the Yankees.
Went 4 innings in that appearance, gave up 2 earned runs.
And most significantly, in that outing against the Yankees, his average fastball velocity ticked up to 91.6, which is the highest it's been in any outing this year. It's been slowly coming up since the end of April. And the Mets are hoping that it sticks and that he can be more successful as a result.
The Mets have just one of the most interesting bullpens in baseball. They have 2 opening or middle relief guys in Brazoban and Myers, a long man in Manaea, bulk guys in Peterson and Tong, and 3 late guys. And a partridge in a pear tree.
2 balls and a strike to Casey. Owen Casey was the top prospect with the Cubs. Made his debut with Chicago last year, and then was traded in the offseason for the pitcher Edward Cabrera, who has had his own struggles in Chicago.
And now hurt.
The Cubs might be the weirdest team in baseball. They've had 2 10-game winning streaks. They're now in a 5-game losing streak. And over the last 11 games, their starters ERA is almost 7. Ever since Matthew Boyd went down with the torn meniscus playing with the kids. No good.
I mean, what are you saying? Don't play with your kids?
I'm saying watch out. Be careful. There goes Ruiz stealing third, but it's topped foul outside first. Ruiz loves to steal bases. He's 7 for 7 this year.
Well, the Mets didn't pay a lot of attention. I didn't pay a lot of attention to Ruiz at second base, and he almost stole third. But look at his numbers in stealing third. He likes stealing third.
Bichette trying to keep him close. Casey fouls back the fastball. 94 from Sean. That's good to see.
Well, it makes you feel like they've identified the issue, and maybe the work that he's put in to get back that velocity might be working.
7th pitch of the at-bat coming from Manaea to Casey. And first to look back at second, so that's the second disengagement. And Ruiz takes off for third, and this time makes it without a throw. So he was bound and determined to steal third base, and he got it on the second crack. His 8th stolen base of the year.
I thought Terens was going to appeal to the ABS there.
So now the infield comes in, tying run at third with 1 out. 3-2 to Casey, and he grounds one toward first, and Vientos' only play is to step on the bag as Ruiz comes home with the tying run. It's 1-1. So the stolen base pays off in a run for the Marlins. Casey drives in his 21st run of the year.
Well, 2 good things here. One, the stolen base from Ruiz put him in a spot to score that run, but also good job by Casey to just get a piece of that and put it on the ground with the great speed of Ruiz at third. They kind of stole the run there.
Now Joe Mack, the rookie catcher. They've been keeping him away from left-handed pitching. He's only had 10 at-bats against lefties, 0 for 10. Making his 14th start since his call-up. Manaea falls behind him 2-0. Mack is 23 years old. Grew up near Buffalo in Williamsville, New York. First-round pick in 2020 out of high school. And they have loved his defensive skills for years. His offense just starting to catch up.
Boy, he holds that bat right in front of him. It's a long trip to the ball when you have the ball kind of bat Gary Sheffield in front of him. You know, you have to be awfully strong to do that.
That's what Travis d'Arnaud did early in his career.
Until he went to Atlanta.
Yeah, well, figured it out there. Mack hit 21 home runs in the minor leagues last year. He tops this one foul up the first base line.
It's interesting, Gary. Augustine Ramirez, they sent him down. He was all bat, not a lot of glove. With Mack, he got all glove and working on the bat.
Yeah, I think there came a point where the Marlins pitchers started complaining about Augustine Ramirez, and that's the point at which you have to make a decision. 2-2 on the way. Hits softly toward third, charging Beatty, bare hands and throws in the dirt. Scoop, not in time. Nicely done on both ends by Beatty and Vientos, but Mack able to beat it out for an infield hit.
Well, nice job. Catch that in the fingertips. Still able to get it and get a lot on that throw. The one hop by Vientos covered. That was an in-between hop. Very difficult. And Mark made that play.
Now Javier Sanoja batting 9th in the order. Sanoja, jack of all trades, won a Gold Glove last year as a utility player. He's playing shortstop today. And that sweeper, he held the swing in time. 1 ball, 1 strike. First base umpire Derek Thomas. Corey Blazer is calling the balls and strikes tonight. He's the crew chief. And Sanoha takes a fastball right there. You have to like the way that fastball is coming out of Manaya's hand.
Yeah, it is free and easy and with something on it.
Here's your quartet. Jansen Visconti and Manny Gonzalez rounding out the crew. Sanoha cracks one to center. Ewing got a late start back, but he gets there to make the catch. And that retires the side. Marlins scratch out a run. It's 1-1 after 2. Sailing, sailing over the boundary lane. Beautiful day for all craft. 1-1 as we go to the third. Start of the long Memorial Day weekend. Nick Morabito leads off for the Mets against Eury Perez. Morabito's second big league start. And he pulls one foul. Nick making a bid for his first big league hit.
I saw Nick before the game in the clubhouse. There's certain players that come out and remind you how young these people are. You know?
Morabito just 23 years old. Got to play in front of the hometown folk. Grew up in McLean, Virginia, so he had plenty of folks on hand for his debut. By the way, speaking of debuts, I had a chance to talk to Zach Thornton today, and he said his dad got home to Kansas. He's fine.
Oh, good.
He said he got to get in his pickup truck for the first time in months. He was a happy camper.
Oh, wow.
And the curveball from Perez misses down. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Luis Torrens on deck, and then Carson Benj for the Mets in the third. And Morabito goes down swinging. That's the first strikeout for Perez, who averages 10 strikeouts per 9 innings.
He didn't throw a lot of breaking balls, Perez, until Morabito came up, and then he threw him 3 different sliders in that at bat, or looks more like a cutter to me.
Speaking of dominant pitchers, Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies tonight, facing the Guardians. He's thrown 5 scoreless innings. That stretches his streak to 34 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings, which beats Cliff Lee's record for the longest by a Philly in the live ball era since 1920.
Look out, Bulldog.
He's still got a ways to go.
Yes, he does.
Hershauser 59.
59. He needed a 10-inning complete game start to beat Don Drysdale's record.
Drysdale was 58 1/3. Luis Torrens fouls one back this way.
So 6'8", pitcher on the mound. Look how big his fingers are. He's got long fingers like Pedro Martinez.
I mean, Pedro is 5'11".
I know, it's a different thing.
Long fingers.
Yeah.
This guy is 6'8" with long fingers.
He's got normal fingers for a 6'8" guy.
Right. Everything in proportion.
It's almost like he can touch the thumb to his forefinger around the ball, the circumference of the ball.
And he strikes out Torrens on a high breaking ball, 2 away.
You know, sometimes when you have hands that big and can wrap around the baseball like that, you always have to remind yourself that pitching is done from the fingertips. So even though you have those long fingers, you've got to be able to translate it to your fingertips and keep that ball on your fingertips. The problem, Gary, is that if you have it in your fingertips and you have fingers like his, what happens is that a lot of the ball is not against your hand, and there's a lot of room in between your palm of your hand and the ball. A lot of space in here, so it's like so far out on the edge, sometimes it's hard to fine-tune it the way you want to. But 6'8", I'd take 6'8", throwing from that high. Here we go.
Call is overturned, and it's an 0-2 count to Benj. All I know is that shaking hands with Pedro Martinez was like shaking hands with E.T.
That's right.
Pulled on the ground to second, a grass cutter to Edwards, and that retires the side. Middle of the third in Miami. Mets and Marlins tied at 1. Things are turning nicely on the old Ferris wheel.
You know they had a Ferris wheel here. That's not one of those Ferris wheels where you hang your legs out, though. That's like a cage they put you in.
Well, you know, safety first. Xavier Edwards leading off the home third, and he flies one out to left. In comes Morabito, and he's got it. One away. So Edwards has made 2 quick outs today. One from the left side of the plate and one from the right. And now Liam Hicks, who had a foul fly that Morabito ran down in the first. Tobias Myers worked an inning and a third as an opener. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 walk. Manaea picked up from there. He's retired 3 of his first 4 hitters and gets the sweeper in for a strike to Hicks. This was a cagey move by Carlos Mendoza as Clayton McCullough stacked his lineup with left-hand hitters, figuring that behind Myers it might be Tong, but it never really made sense to me that you would follow Myers with Tong because they had the exact same release point, that very high, right over the top release.
And what it does also is that it makes McCullough, do you want to make changes right here early in the game and get all your left-handed hitters out, or are you going to give Manaea all these lefties to face for a few innings?
Takes care of Hicks for his first strikeout, and there are 2 away. Injury report brought to you by NYU Langone Health. Kodai Senga pitching for St. Lucie tonight. You see the numbers there. Trying to make his way back from some back issues. 2 out and nobody on. Now Connor Norby, who drew a walk his first time up, and he swings and misses at a fastball from Manaea. If Sean's going to pitch like this, he's pitchable.
He can, well, not only pitchable, he is starting pitcher-able.
I mean, the Mets moved Peterson from a bulk reliever role back into the rotation with his start yesterday, and Peterson looked extremely good doing that. If you can plug Manaea back in, who got paid handsomely after his great 2024, all of a sudden you got something in this rotation with Peralta and McLean.
All his fastballs have been sitting around the 92 mark. That's a good sign.
Even hit 94 once. 1-2 coming to Norby, and he fouls off the fastball. I mean, it felt as though last year when Sean came back that he never really got into any kind of groove, and then his arm angle seemed to drop even lower than it was in 24, and the results got all muddled.
I felt like his best outing when he came back last year was his first one in Kansas City. He was outstanding.
This year the velocity was down in spring, never seemed to come back up as Norby yanks one foul. But now all of a sudden, these last 3 or 4 outings, that velocity is back. Saw Sean in the hotel lobby today with his 8-month-old son. That was pretty cool.
I also always like looking at his sleeve on his right arm. That's pretty cool too.
8th pitch of the at bat to Norby, and it just missed outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tattoo sleeve, of course, I'm talking about.
Who was the pitcher who they made wear sleeves because he had so many tattoos?
I want to say Justin Miller.
Swing and a miss. He gets Norby. So Manaea finishes off the third with back-to-back strikeouts. 1-1 after 3. Bo Bichette leads off in the 4th inning. Bo homered on Monday in Washington, hit 2 more on Tuesday.
Well, what you like to see from Bo all the time is coast to coast. We know he can hit the ball to right field, but the pull side is just as important. It keeps the pitchers honest, and they can't just spend their time trying to jam him.
Bichette grounded out to short his first time up. Soto and Vientos to follow. Yuri Perez gave up the home run to Soto. He's retired 7 in a row since. And good curveball to get him to head on Bichette 0-2.
For example, if I'm pitching against a guy who only wants to go to right field, I only have to pitch him one way, inside. If he turns on one ball and hits it down the left field line, the jam is off. I have to figure out a new way.
Well, Bichette did a great job pulling his hands in to get to that cutter on the inner portion of the plate.
I mean, when he was in Toronto, the book on Bo was this: cannot get inside on him with anything. Quickest bat in the league.
Kind of like Paul Molitor used to be.
Yeah. Molitor, slump-proof swing.
Bichette goes down swinging. Sweeper from Perez for his 3rd strikeout.
Well, if he starts getting that pitch over, then we're going to see a big strikeout day, because he throws 98. You got to protect against that. He loves throwing that fastball, but if he starts pulling the chain with the slider or changeup, then you're in a little bit of trouble.
Well, Juan Soto hit a fastball out of the ballpark his first time up. The pitch he hit was 99.8 miles an hour, which is the fastest pitch that anybody has hit a home run on in the major leagues this season. And the 3rd fastest pitch that Soto's ever homered off. Fastest pitch he ever homered off? 100.6 in 2022 from Edwin Diaz.
Wow. 101. It's interesting. This at bat, Soto got behind the first pitch. Third base umpire called a check swing a strike. I didn't see that, but
0-2 from Perez. It's not throwing him fastballs this at bat, is he? He threw him all fastballs that first at bat. And Soto finally timed one up and hit it 449 feet, which is the longest home run he's hit in his 2 years as a Met.
a home run I'll always remember from Soto, Gary, is the one he hit as a National against the Met up into the upper concourse, right down the line.
Smacks that one into left center field, and he's got his 2nd hit of the night. Ruiz cuts it off, and Soto will stop at first with an opposite field single. So after Perez had retired 8 in a row, Soto is the only man to reach for the Mets tonight. Gets him again.
Well, it looked like it was a running maybe fastball away, two-seamer maybe. He got it off the end of the bat, but still hit a bullet to left center. He's red hot right now.
Now 8 for 18 with 4 home runs on this road trip. There's Vientos, who fouled out to the catcher his first time. It's a double play ball right at Sanoja. And the turn by Edwards is easy for the 6-4-3 double play. Middle of the 4th in Miami, tied at 1. They learn by interacting with veteran players. This was in batting practice today.
Well, it was interesting that I think the young guy was teaching Soto. We're talking about a guy that used to pitch in college, and he's showing him where he puts his thumb on a four-seamer. Four-seamer is a ball that carries. You can see Soto saying, when I throw it, it kind of goes to the left. But if you throw that backwards four-seamer with that reverse kind of spin on it, rotation, sorry, that ball will stay true, and none better than seeing Bench throw that in Washington.
One hop strike that he threw to the plate was the thing of beauty. Kyle Stowers leading off for the Marlins in the bottom of the 4th against Sean Manaea, who's now worked an inning and 2/3 and given up just an infield hit.
So Gary, in this game, you're always learning, and it goes from usually from older player to younger player, but sometimes it can go the other way.
Stowers flied out to center his first time up. He's DHing tonight. And an off-speed breaking ball just barely got a piece to stay in the at-bat. Stowers had a big year last year in his first year in Miami. Hit 25 home runs even though he missed the last 40 games of the season. And he takes a fastball for strike 3 called, and Minaya struck out 3 in a row.
Well, this is vintage 24, Sean, right here.
I'll say it again, a brilliant bit of managing by Carlos Mendoza, because he has really put Clayton McCullough in a difficult spot, coming with Minaya early in the game after Myers opened and leaving all these left-hand hitters exposed. Fastball strike to Marcy.
And one of the strengths of the Marlins is that they do play the platoon game. That is their game to win on the margins.
Grounded down to third, handled by Beatty at the bag, and the throw off the bag, but Vientos puts the tag on Marcy, and that's the second out.
Well, whoever's in charge of the defensive positioning has a bemused smile right now, because they had Beatty playing his normal third base position and that made that a very easy position despite the throw up the line.
So now Esteury Ruiz, who doubled to right center and scored the Marlins run, and he bluffs a bunt with 2 out and nobody on. Interesting choice.
Watch this play by Vientos. Gets it right on his tricep, it looked like, maybe, if he did.
No argument from Marcy. Ball and a strike to Ruiz, who after his double stole third and then came home on a ground out for the only Miami run. That was charged to Tobias Myers. Well, it's only been 2 1/3 innings, but I think it's fair to say this is the best that Sean Minaya has looked all year.
I mean, Paint 2-1 fastball on the inside corner. Ruiz doesn't agree, but you got an option.
I mean, he's filling the strike zone. He's pitching with confidence. It's just a different guy.
He's working quickly. It's a beautiful tempo.
2-2 coming. In the air along the right field line, slicing toward the stands. On the run is Benji, slides, and it's a fair ball. He can't make the catch. Ruiz is going to make it to third as Benj gets the ball in. Benj was playing all the way over in right center. Went as far as he could, went into a slide, came up empty. The ball just landed fair, and Ruiz, after doubling his first time up, has his first triple of the year.
Well, Gary, you made the point for me. Great defensive positioning with Beatty prior, but here he was so far, and even with his great speed, there was nothing he could do.
In the air along the right field.
And when you're running that hard to right field, you have to go into a slide to try to make the play, or you'll run into the wall.
So now 2 out and a runner at third for Owen Casey, who drove in the Marlins run with a ground out, and he takes a sweeper outside for ball 1. Casey came into the night hitting just 158 against left-handers. Like with Joe Mack, they've mostly shielded him from lefties. He lines that one toward the middle, and he's got a base hit to give the Marlins the lead. So Casey, up against the left-hander, gets his second RBI of the night, and the Marlins go in front 2-1.
It's the Ruiz Casey show so far for the offense of the Marlins. This fastball maybe not the best by Sean tonight. Right down the middle, up, a little inner third.
So now Joe Mack, who had an infield hit, his first hit against a lefty this year, against Minaya in the second inning. And Minaya picks off the outside corner, and it's 1-1.
It's the kind of games you're going to have when you face the Marlins. They just put a lot of balls in play. A lot of team speed. Feisty bunch.
Manaea in his last outing against the Yankees on Sunday threw 57 pitches in 4 innings. He's up to 51 pitches now. One, two. And the sweeper well outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Grounded on the right side, right at Semien this time. And Marcus makes the play to end the inning, but Owen Casey's RBI single puts the Marlins up 2-1 after 4. Play ball, don't miss play ball weekend, June 5th through the 7th. Encouraging youth everywhere to get out and play. Visit playball.org today to register for a free event near you. 5th inning, Yuri Perez will work with the lead for the first time, 2-1 Miami. Brett Beatty leads off against Perez. Beatty grounded out to first base his first time up. Mets have had 2 hits, both by Juan Soto, a homer and a single. That's been it. And Perez, who's been walking a lot of hitters, has not walked anybody tonight. And that's kind of been a trend for the Mets. They've drawn very few walks, just 3 in the last 3 games combined coming into the night.
This is the best I've seen Perez by far. He just has a better body language out there, like he's confident. He's waiting for the pitch to be called from the bench.
Marlins started calling all their pitches from the dugout late last season, and they've continued that into this year. They're certainly not the only team that's doing it now, but they have been the most open about it.
Yes, and they did start it last year. When you think about it, the pitcher and the catcher both have the blueprint on what to do on any given day. But during the course of the game, things get heated, things get people on base.
Beatty pops one up behind second base, and Sanoja waits for it.
And the Marlins believe when that happens, why don't we just start by taking that off their plate, and all they have to worry about is execution. And I think for one of their pitchers, Max Meyer, who really believes in it and just wants to execute, he's having his best year.
Yeah, we'll see Meyer tomorrow. One out. Here's Marcus Semien, who fouled out to first base his first time up. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
There you go.
Now, they will tell you that the pitches they're calling from the bench are suggestions, and that the catcher can call a different pitch.
Yes. Well, catcher can call a different pitch, and the pitcher can shake it off.
But when you have a rookie catcher making just his 14th start in the big leagues, and a 23-year-old pitcher on the mound, the likelihood is they're just going to follow what the bench suggests.
Exactly.
You know, when Sandy Alcantara is out there, maybe that's a little different. Semien pokes one down the first baseline, and diving for the bag is Hicks, and he gets there in time to beat Semien for the second out.
That was the right play by Hicks. He called the pitcher off, and then they don't want to transfer on a really close location. So he told the big man, get out of the way, let me get underneath you here with a tag of the base with the first baseman's glove. Good play by Hicks. Not an easy play. It looks easy, but it's not.
And it wasn't all that easy for Perez to stop.
That's right.
You know, there's a reason why his nickname growing up was Pequeña Jirafa, baby giraffe.
So just one more thought on calling the pitches. I think when I was a kid, I grew up thinking that pitching was an art, and now we've gone into where pitching has really become science. or for science for this generation.
I saw a big diatribe by the folks at Driveline today. Did you see it?
I did not.
About they were chastising people who told pitchers that instead of velocity they should try to pitch like Greg Maddux. And their point was that Maddux was such an outlier that that's a ridiculous way of trying to instruct youngsters.
They can be a little ridiculous in the way they instruct youngsters as well.
They're going for velocity over command.
In fact, their pitching coach, Moskos, is a Driveline guy. That's where he comes from. People, this is how it works in professional sports. Professional athletes will gravitate towards what gets them paid. And if velocity and spin get paid, that's what they're going to do. That's how it has worked forever. The day of guys finishing 20 games a year, throwing 350 innings, starting 40 times, that got them paid. What gets them paid today is not all those starts, is being great for whatever starts you're out there, throwing the ball 95 plus, and spinning the ball at a special level.
You know, it's interesting you said that. I remember when Rick Peterson was the pitching coach for the Mets. So this is what, 20 years ago now? He said he used to tell his young pitchers that the only time you're going to get paid for your velocity is when you sign your first contract, right? Because you don't get drafted unless you impress the scouts.
That's right.
He said after that, it's all about command. But now it's changed so that the incentives remain where they are when players are first drafted. Velocity and spin before command.
You know, if you have a 17-year-old son that throws 96 miles an hour in high school, he's going to get an $8 million check. I don't know how you stop people from trying to reach that goal.
3-2 to Ewing with 2 out and nobody on. And AJ goes down swinging on the fastball. That's the 4th strikeout for Yuri Perez. We're halfway through in Miami. Marlins 2, Mets 1. Baseball on Pix 11 is brought to you by Lexus. Experience amazing. By Cure Auto Insurance, named one of America's best insurance companies by Forbes. Visit Cure.com today and save. By MSC Cruises, let's holiday, cruise in European style and American comfort. Home 5th inning. Javier Sanoja leading off against Sean Manaea, who's worked 2 2/3 in relief, giving up a run on 3 hits. 9-1-2 in the batting order. Sanoja, Edwards, and Hicks for the Marlins in the 5th. Fouls that went into the ground and it caught a piece of Torrens on the way.
Torrens is getting hit less this year than he has in years past. Still getting a hit, but
he took one
in Washington
directly off the thigh yesterday. That's lined down the left field line by Sanoja. Fair ball going into the corner. And Sanoja pulls in at second base with a leadoff double. So the Marlins starting to get some better swings against Sean Manaea at the bottom of the batting order.
I think just a mistake by Sean. It's an 0-2 count. He wanted to get this slider in off the plate. You don't want to give him a chance to keep that ball fair, which he does. 5-6 feet inside the line. Sanoja had a big grand slam on this homestand for the Marlins a week ago.
So now Xavier Edwards is 0 for 2, grounded out, flied out. Corners are in against him. And he pushes a bunt. He was thinking about it anyway. Took inside for ball 1.
Vientos and Semien have to be heads up here with the left-hander Manaea on the mound. He's going to try to push this right at Vientos, beat Manaea to first base.
Edwards has 13 infield hits this year. And he bunts one foul at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Coming into the day, Otto Lopez and Xavier Edwards, normally the double play combination for the Marlins, were 1-2 in the National League in base hits. Lopez leading the league in batting. Edwards is 7th.
We saw them early on when they were playing opposite positions, right, Gary?
Right. But Edwards proved to be the better second baseman and Lopez the better shortstop. So they switched him. And he squares again and takes outside. It's an interesting spot here. I'm not sure I would have Xavier Edwards bunting in the 5th inning.
I don't think their depth of lineup is enough where they can take away his bat, but I think he's on his own. This is not called from the bench.
And you saw Jonah Tong getting ready in the Mets bullpen, and Edwards pops up the bunt and lands and then rolls foul. So Jonah Tong, who just joined the team today, wearing Cleon Jones's old number 21. I don't know, is that going to cause a controversy?
It's been a week for numbers, I know. I see Jonah up. I'm confused though. If they come across a right-hander, you might want one of your right-handed relievers, a Brazelman or someone like that, to maybe get through the inning. But I guess they're going to ask him to get through an inning, maybe.
Maybe they are getting him ready for the 6th.
Yeah.
Figuring it'll take him that long to warm up. Line towards short and picked off by Bichette. And Edwards retired. So after 2 strikes, Edwards finally swinging the bat. And he lines out to short. Sanoha stays at second with 1 out.
Didn't hit this on the nose, and in fact, Bo jumped a little early, but was able to stay in the air long enough.
Not certain he needed to jump at all.
Exactly.
But it worked out fine. Now Liam Hicks, who's fouled out and struck out 0 for 2. Hicks has had a really good year, but not so much against lefties. Came into the day hitting just .226 against lefties. With 1 of his 9 home runs.
But you know, when you're having a year like Hicks is, you feel great whenever people are on base and in scoring position.
Slow sweeper is popped up, and Beatty comes into foul territory to grab it, and there are 2 out. So Manaea getting Edwards and Hicks back to back after the leadoff double. Ronnie Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies has thrown 8 scoreless innings.
Wow. He is in a groove.
Now up to 37 2/3.
He's in a groove for the last 4 years.
Only one problem. Phillies haven't scored either. There goes Sanoha. The throw to third by Torrens, and Sanoha is safe. Second time tonight that the Marlins have stolen third. If you're going to steal with 2 outs, you better make it. Torrens felt as though maybe Sanoha had popped up off the bag.
Well, he comes to the outside corner of the bag, gets in there, and holds it. That was a deft maneuver by Sanoha.
Only his 3rd stolen base of the year. Carlos Mendoza's coming out to talk to the home plate umpire. Was there some concern about interference on the hitter?
Maybe. Because Torrens was talking to the umpire right after the throw. And the home plate umpire usually has that call. Let's see. He comes out firing. Oh, did Torrens hit the umpire?
Yeah,
that sometimes
the umpire
happens.
can call interference on himself.
Yes.
That is a call that I've seen made several times. And in that case, they would send the runner back to second.
But Torrens' throw was right on the money and didn't look like it lacked any velocity. So maybe that's why.
So now Sanoha at third with 2 out. 0-1 to Norby, who's walked and struck out tonight. And Norby drives one to left. Morabito sliding, and he made the catch. A bullet off the bat of Norby. It was sinking fast, and Morabito left his feet and made the play. Beautifully done by the rookie left fielder to keep it a 2-1 game. Mets baseball on Pix 11 is brought to you by Buick. Exceptional by design. This is Buick. Now see your local dealer. Nick Morabito leads off and takes curveball up and in from Yuri Perez. Morabito struck out in his first at bat. Just made a terrific play to take a base hit away from Connor Norby and save a run. And he fouls off a fastball, and it's 1-1. Luis Torrens on deck, and then Carson Bench against Perez, who has been at his best tonight. He has not walked a batter, struck out 4, given up only 2 hits. And Morabito got tied in a knot, and it's 1-2.
Boy, that's the best 2-seamer he's thrown all evening long. That ball just took a right turn in on Morabito.
Morabito looking for his first big league hit. He's gone 0 for 5 to start his major league career. And he takes the fastball high, 2-2. Perez's last start, he walked 4 in 5 innings, gave up 5 runs, 5 hits, couple of home runs against Tampa Bay. Over 100 pitches in 5 innings. Different story tonight. And Morabito takes strike 3 call. 5 strikeouts now for Perez. Second time he's gotten Morabito.
This is paint, knees, and on the outside corner. Perez is getting better as the night goes on.
So now Luis Torrens, who has struck out on 3 pitches his first time up.
Still heavy with that 4-seam fastball, but I think he's used those secondary pitches much better than I've seen him in the past. And for strikes.
And Torrens swings and misses at a slider, and it's 0-2. Carson Bench, the on-deck batter. Perez has made it look easy. Other than the bomb of a home run that Soto hit in the first inning. And he ties up Torrens, and he stopped the swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I know Keith had spoke a lot in the past about J.R. Richards. This was the size of J.R. Richards, except at about 50-60 pounds. Ooh.
I feel as though J.R. Richard, though, for his time, was such an outlier.
Yes.
In size and velocity.
You're right, Gary.
1-2. And the breaking ball outside. 2-2.
We got plenty of 6'6" guys now.
Well, probably guys throwing 98. 2-2 to Torrens.
And Luis hits one in the air to left field. It's well hit. Back goes Luis on the warning track. And he gets there to make the catch a step from the fence.
And Torrens got on a breaking ball and came up a little short. 2 out.
This ballpark plays big. It's pitcher friendly in my estimation. Ruiz thought he was against the wall, jumped prematurely. But boy, Torrens got that pretty good. I thought it was going to be out of here.
So 2 out, and now Carson Bench, who hit the second pitch of the game up against the center field fence where Jacob Marcy made a leaping catch. And the ball call is challenged by Joe Mack, the catcher. Shall we? It's a ball. So the Marlins lose a challenge.
Watch his reaction. That looked good. And wonder if that reaction induced Mack to challenge.
Or maybe that was the reaction to the challenge.
Yeah. It's a reaction to something.
Well, the catchers have had the best eye at getting calls overturned. Pitchers not so much.
No, pitchers are bad.
And tried to hold the swing, but he went around, and it's 1-2. Ben just come up shy on a couple of drives the last 2 days. He hit one yesterday with the bases loaded in the ninth that on a different day would have been 10 rows up in the stands, but got knocked down by the wind in Washington. And today hit one to the fence that got caught. 1-2 coming. And that's away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You guys had 4 seasons in Washington over the course of that
crazy
series.
First 2 days of the series was 94 at game time. Yesterday was 59. Two out and nobody on. 2-2 coming to Bench. And the slider at his feet, and it's 3-2. Perez has not walked about it tonight. Came in averaging 4.8 walks per 9 innings. Mets have only had 2 base runners, 2 hits by Soto.
There's the time right there where Perez shook off twice.
And Benj cracks one out to center. Marcy racing back to the warning track, right at the fence. He leaps and he makes another catch. Oh, wow. Carson Benj is going to be talking to himself. That's twice today that Marcy's gone up against the center field fence and taken an extra base hit away from Benj. Well, 22-year-old Jonah Tong will make his season debut against the same team he made his major league debut against last season.
2025 was an historic minor league season for Tong. He's gotten off to a slower start. See the numbers, walks are up, strikeouts still where they've always been, but home runs allowed, something that he didn't allow it barely in 2025 are up.
They've been asking him to work on his secondary stuff. Last year he was basically a fastball changeup pitcher when he came up, so he's been working on his curve and his slider. Kyle Stowers will be the first man to face him in the bottom of the 6th, with the Marlins leading 2-1. And Stowers swings and misses that first overhand fastball, 0-1. Stowers is flied out and taken to call third strike, 0 for 2. Sean Manaea worked 3 2/3 in relief. He gave up 4 hits and 1 run and looked better than he has in any outing this year. Didn't walk a batter, struck out 3, and now hands it off to Tong. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, and it's 0-2, and Tong threw those first 2 fastballs at 97. He averaged a shade under 95 in the minors this year. Well, the big league adrenaline kicks in. Stowers skies one to left center, and Morabito calls and catches 1 out. Tong had actually turned his season around and was going in the right direction just till his last outing, and he got beat up that last outing, got knocked out in the 2nd inning. But the Mets were not concerned because they felt as though he was establishing the benchmarks they had asked him to.
He looks a little bigger and stronger to me physically, especially in his legs.
There's Jacob Marcy, and he swings and misses at a changeup, 0-1.
Beautiful pitch after all those fastballs to Stowers. Here's it's way down the mound, and that big release for the pop-up.
He gets the curveball over for a strike, and it's 0-2. That was the pitch that just wasn't there for him when he came to the big leagues last year. Made 5 starts for the Mets. First one was against the Marlins. Mets got him 19 runs that day. And another good changeup to strike out Marcy on 3 pitches. So Tong looking sharp, and he gets his first 2 outs.
So he throws 3 fastballs to Stowers, and then changeup, curveball, and changeup. See the grip as he pronates and just forces that ball to run away from the hitter. Beautiful pitch.
So now Esteury Ruiz, who has been the big masher for the Marlins today, a double and a triple. He scored both their runs. Ruiz came into the day hitting 176, making just his 10th start of the year for his 5th different team, and he's had himself a day so far. And he cracks this one out to right, but Benj has this one lined up, and that retires the side. An 8-pitch inning for Jonah Tong as he gets a 1-2-3. Back at Citi Field for Friday Night Mets on Pix 11 next week, when the same Miami Marlins are in town to open up a 3-game set. Coverage begins at 6:30 with the Cure Auto Insurance pregame, and first pitch scheduled for 7:10 right here on Pix 11. Yuri Perez pitching into the 7th inning with a 2-1 lead. 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Bo Bichette fouls back his first fastball. Perez trying to get through 7 innings for just the 3rd time in his major league career. He went 7 once last year, once this year. And he started the 7th inning tonight at just 81 pitches. Bichette has grounded out and struck out.
I know it's probably happenstance, but the Mets offense have been a real elixir for some of these pitchers that have really been struggling.
What do you make of that?
I don't know. I mean, you get a pitcher, a quality pitcher, who's got stuff like Perez. At some point, he's going to have a good game just because of his stuff alone.
This could be his last batter. Andrew Nardi up in the bullpen. Soto on deck. And call strike to Bichette, and Bo's going to challenge that call. It appeared to be outside.
Oh, yeah, I think the ball's down too.
And it is indeed a ball. So now instead of 2-2, it's 3-1.
This is the pitch ahead. Soto's up next. He's going to get a fastball here, 3-1.
Bichette 3 home runs on this road trip. Flies that one along the right field line, cutting across is Casey to get there, and he makes the catch.
He got it, but the velocity of Perez beat him.
And that's going to be it for Perez. With Soto coming up, they've got the lefty ready in the bullpen, and Clayton McCullough is going to go to Andrew Nardi to face Soto, who's already homered and singled against Perez, the only 2 base runners the Mets have had all night. Outstanding outing for Yuri Perez, but he's done after 6 1/3. (2-1) Miami in the 7th. Perez out, Nardi in. We'll be right back to Miami. The hospital for special surgery, #1 in orthopedics. And by Infinity, experience their luxury SUVs at your local retailer today. Left-hander Andrew Nardi coming back from missing all of last year with elbow problems.
Elbow and back issues. Had a great 23 and 24 for the Marlins.
Comes in to face Soto, who swings and misses at his first fastball, 0-1. Soto homered in the first inning, a 449-foot blast in the second deck. And then he singled to left center in the 4th. He's had trouble off and on with that right wrist.
Yeah.
It's been flaring up every once in a while.
And it happens when he swings and misses.
No problem when he makes contact.
Well, I'm saying it doesn't happen very often.
And Nardi goes away with the sweeper. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Joe Mack's going to challenge the call.
I think he got this one right. Or he better.
And that is indeed a strike. And that makes the count 0-2. Soto's only had 1 career at bat against Nardi, a strikeout. And Nardi has him down in the count 0-2 here in the 7th. And he pulls one foul.
Steady diet of fastballs from Perez. 7 pitches in, 449.
Almost hit the post. He hit the post.
Hit the post.
Art Vientos on deck. Leans Soto back with that fastball, 1-2.
You don't see many pitches like that anymore. Guys don't really waste 0-2. That's a good waste pitch, and now he'll come back with the slider away.
And he hits it on the ground to short. In front of it is Sanoja, and he gets Soto by a couple of strides, 2 out.
You know, that wasn't even a particularly good breaking pitch, but because the pitch prior was under his chin, he didn't get out to it.
So now Vientos, who's fouled out to the catcher and grounded into a double play. Hitless now in his last 9 at bats. He bats with 2 out and nobody on against Nardi. And takes a fastball strike. Yuri Perez, 86 pitches and 6 1/3. 1 run, 2 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. First time this year in 11 starts that he has not walked a batter. And quickly 0-2 on Vientos.
Ooh, Vientos has got to watch himself. He went to the top of his helmet. Luckily, it was too late.
That's both their challenges remaining. The Marlins have 1. Vientos asks for time.
It's a home game for Mark. Comes from these parts.
Oh-2 coming. Fastball got him looking. Vientos out on 3 pitches, and Nardi gets 2 outs in the 7th. Keeps it a 2-1 game. Road ahead for the Mets brought to you by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. 4 o'clock game tomorrow, 1:40 start on Sunday. Then the Mets go home to play the Reds on Memorial Day. Don't forget that's a 4 o'clock start Monday. 3 with the Reds, 3 with the Marlins on the next homestand. Jonah Tong starts his 2nd inning of relief. Owen Casey has driven in both runs from Miami tonight with a ground out and a single. Tong threw a 1-2-3 8-pitch 6th inning in his first big league inning of the season. That 21 on his jersey, significant in that Jonah is the 21st pitcher to work for the Mets this year, which is not even half of the 46 that they used last year, but it's still a lot for the 3rd week in May.
21 in 51 games.
Lower third of the order for the Marlins here in the 7th. And Casey watches changeup outside. It's 2-1. Joe Mack on deck, and then Javier Sinoja. The Guardians got a run in the 9th and beat the Phillies 1-0. Both Christopher Sanchez and Gavin Williams threw 8 scoreless in that game. 3-1 now to Casey. Williams, one of the best starters nobody talks about.
Yeah.
He pitched a great game against the Mets last year at Citi Field. Tonight he struck out 11 Phillies in 8 innings. Tong behind 3-1. Inside, ball 4. So Casey's aboard for the 2nd time. And with the 2nd walk in this game for either side tonight. Tobias Myers walked a batter in the 1st inning. By the way, speaking of pitchers nobody talks about, how about Spencer Arrighetti?
Right, for the Astros.
The Astros have been a disaster, but Arrighetti threw 5 scoreless against the Cubs today. He's 6-1 with a 1.32. And Mack takes the fastball just inside, ball 1. Casey at first can run a little bit. He's got a short lead. And Mack takes fastball outside. All of a sudden, Tong having trouble throwing strikes. Jonah won't turn 23 until next month. Ground ball to second, could be 2. Semien to Bichette, back to first, double play. 4-6-3, 2 out.
Good pitch by Jonah. Kept it on the outside part of the plate. Joe Mack tried to pull it. The Mets get 2.
Now you just said it and it made me think of it. Every time I hear the name Joe Mack,
Yeah.
I'm thinking I know that name from somewhere.
It's from the
Joe
old,
McIlvaine.
Exactly.
Who was so instrumental in procuring the talent in the early 80s, along with Frank Cashin, that eventually led to the World Series championship. Bench catches the fly ball from Sinoja. Inning over. 2 hitless innings for Tong. 2-1 after 7. Hyundai in-game box score for the Mets. Juan Soto has the only 2 hits. Carson Bench has been robbed twice at the fence by Jacob Marcy. And the Mets are down a run as they come to bat in the 8th. With Andrew Nardi, the lefty, on the mound, Tyrone Taylor will bat for Brett Beatty. Beatty went 0 for 2 tonight. And Taylor takes a strike, 0-1.
You know, I left and the Mets had a lot of these scenarios and they're still back. You know, they're playing a low scoring game. They're going to different parts of their bench to try to generate a run.
Changes for the Marlins defensively. Graham Pauley has come in to play third base. Otto Lopez has come in to play shortstop. Javier Sinoja has moved to left field. Esteury Ruiz has moved to right field. 0-2 to Taylor. He fouls back the high fastball. Marcus Semien on deck, then A.J. Ewing against Nardi, who came in to get 2 outs in the 7th behind a Yuri Perez who was terrific. And that's a way to Taylor. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Taylor's last at bat was Wednesday night in Washington. Came up as a pinch hitter in the 9th and struck out against Andrew Alvarez. And he goes down swinging on the changeup. So Nardi's got his 2nd strikeout.
Well, you can see why Nardi's 2nd on this team in appearances. He's got 3 different pitches that can get you out, and that changeup was dandy.
Clayton McCullough on his way to the mound. With Semien coming up, he wants a right-hander in the game. So Nardi's work is done for the night. 2-1 Miami in the 8th. We'll be right back.
For the Marlins, it's been Marcy Morabito for the Mets a couple of times. This one saved a run. And Marcy twice against Benj robs him up against the wall. Boy, he seems to make one of those catches a game against the Mets since he's been up.
Now the 6'7" right-hander from Great Britain, Michael Peterson, is in.
You know, we saw him when he first came up with the Dodgers. He has the most velocity coming out of that pen, averages over 97 miles an hour.
Marcus Semien is 0 for 2 tonight. And Marcus pops one foul off the right side. Hicks gives it a look, but that'll be out of play. Perez went 6 1/3, allowed a run on 2 hits. Nardi faced 3 batters, retired them all, and now Peterson trying to finish off the 8th. Another night where the hits have been hard to come by. Mets had just 6 hits yesterday, but won 2-1. 2 hits tonight, and they're down 2-1 in the 8th. Ewing on deck. And Semien takes a sweeper that just missed. And we're going to get a challenge from the catcher, Mack.
Is he 333 or 667?
That's a ball.
333.
So the Marlins are out of challenges for the night. Mets still have both of their challenges remaining. 1-1 to Semien. And that breaking ball bends in for a strike, and it's 1-2. Most of these Mets are seeing Peterson for the first time. And Semien goes down swinging a 99-mile-an-hour heat. And there are 2 out of the inning. This Memorial Day weekend, kick off summer at Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop 5-star styles that ship fast with thousands of customer reviews. There's A.J. Ewing, who's 0 for 2, fly deep to center and struck out. And he takes first pitch slider for a strike.
Peterson, an American father, Nigerian mother, born in London, grew up in California.
He's been everywhere, man.
That's right.
This is his 3rd different big league team. Pitched for the Braves, pitched for the Dodgers. Came to the Marlins last year, was in 11 games for them, his 17th game this year.
Straight over the top.
Seen a lot of that tonight. Myers and Tong and now Peterson. And that fastball just missed, and Joe Mack is out of challenges. Sorry, kid. 2 balls and a strike. AJ batting with 2 out and nobody on. He's got 1 big league home run to his credit. And what do we have now? A mound visit. Pitch clock was about to run out, and Mack called time just before it did.
Well, the bench was all over home plate umpire.
Corey Blazer says that's a mound visit. Yes, it is.
See if Ewing can jump Peterson here.
Two-one coming to AJ, and he takes the slider for a strike, and now it's 2-2. If Ewing can keep the inning going, Nick Morabito would be next. "6'7" Michael Peterson's 2-2, and Ewing fouls it away. Started out with a 6'8" guy on the mound. Now they got a 6'7" guy.
And Nardi was tall as well. Whoa.
Speaking of tall guys, Tyler McGill was in the Mets clubhouse before the game today. He's rehabbing from Tommy John. Ewing takes changeup outside, 3-2. Reed Garrett's also here today. He's rehabbing as well. Reed says his goal is to be back for the playoffs. Cue Jim Mora. 3-2 coming, and it's fouled away.
I like his attitude. Why not? You got to have a goal, right? I would think if you're someone rehabbing, and they're probably spending a lot of time in Florida, Port St. Lucie, and
hey, there's no reason the Mets can't be in the postseason.
That's
just
right.
Came from Washington, where they remembered 19-31 like a mantra.
That's right.
8th pitch of the at bat coming from Peterson to Ewing, and he lines one into right center for a base hit. Another tremendous at bat for A.J. Ewing, and the Mets have the tying run aboard with 2 out.
Well, he waited him out, saw a lot of good breaking pitches, and this one was a good one as well, away, but still a line drive by Ewing.
It's time for a little small ball.
That's right.
Ewing was caught stealing yesterday when he got tagged out on the foot. But you got to think about running here with Morabito at the plate. Ewing takes off, first pitch. The throw to second by Mack on a hop, and he's out. Let's see if the Mets challenge the call. Joe Mack with a great release. One hopped it, and they got the tag down on Ewing, and the Mets will not challenge the call. Inning over. Ewing thrown out for the 2nd straight day as Edwards got the tag on the finger right before it hit the bag. J. Ewing thrown out trying to steal for the 2nd straight day.
Sometimes you have to trust your instincts. He had the jump, the walking lead, but then he stopped and started right from 0. And the catcher, Joe Mack, is one of the best, I think, young catchers in the game with pop time. He gets up and gets it out, and even with the one hop, you can see his footwork impeccable, and he got enough on that throw.
Ewing is out of the game. Tyrone Taylor takes over in center field after pinch hitting. Vidal Brujan comes in to play shortstop, and Bo Bichette moves to 3rd. After Beatty left for a pinch hitter. Jonah Tong working his 3rd inning, facing the top of the batting order. Xavier Edwards has gone 0 for 3 tonight. And fouls off the fastball, and it's 1-2. Well, the Mets offense has been non-existent other than Soto's home run in the first, but the Mets have to be very encouraged from what they saw from Sean Manaea and likewise from Jonah Tong. After Myers worked as an opener for an inning in the third, Manaea gave the Mets 3 2/3, allowed 1 run. Tong has pitched 2 hitless innings in his season debut.
Tong has been throwing more fastballs up in the zone. I wonder if it's because he's overamped or that is what he is featuring.
I mean, that's what he came to the big leagues with last year. And this is with a changeup, and it's 2-2. By the way, we've been talking about great pitching performances. Garrett Cole made his return tonight for the Yankees. 6 scoreless innings, 2 hits. They pulled him after 72 pitches, and now the Rays have gone in front of the Yankees 3-1 in the 8th. Swing and a miss. Tong gets him with a changeup. That's the second strikeout for Jonah. 1 down in the home 8th.
Boy, you love when a pitcher can double up on a pitch. He didn't make a good changeup the pitch prior, made the adjustment, and boy, this one was a great one.
Pete Fairbanks getting ready in the Marlins bullpen. He's had a shaky season after signing a big contract with the Marlins. Big for them, certainly. $13 million for 1 year.
You know, Tong last year, guys, had a look of wonder when he was out on the field. It is all business on his face here this evening.
Liam Hicks is 0 for 3 tonight. And he skies one to center field. Taylor ambles in a couple of steps. And that's the second out. In the 9th, the Mets will have 8, 9, and 1 due up. Morabito, Torrens, and Benj. Need to get somebody on for Bichette. Need to get 2 men on for Soto. Let's have 1 left-handed bat on their bench, and that is MJ Melendez. Now Otto Lopez will bat for the first time. The National League's leading hitter was getting the night off. He's hitting .342 for the year. What a find he has been. Guy they got on waivers a few years ago. Flies one down the right field line. Bench a long run into foul ground. Can't get there. It's a foul ball. Well, that's 2 of them that Bench has had to chase down there tonight. The triple by Ruiz in the 4th that led to the go-ahead run, and now this one.
I mean, just running over there, if you don't go into the slide, you really crash up against that wall. Not good for the shoulder. See the shake of the head. Yes, that means that Tong's already got the pitch delivered to him. He's got it in his mind, and now the execution.
Lopez flies that one foul down the right side. That'll go out of play. And it's 0-2.
Lopez has got a very flat swing. You see many of the Marlins, including Casey, have more of a uppercut. But that's why Lopez puts a lot of balls in play, has a lot of hits, and why he's hitting .342. He can get on top of that high ball.
Hit .246 last year, so .342 has kind of come out of nowhere. 0-2 coming. I mean, Edwards is a guy who you expect to hit 300.
That's right.
I don't think you expected Otto Lopez to hit 300. He had 15 home runs last year. But he is off to a fabulous start, leading the National League in base hits. He and Edwards are 1-2 in the league coming into the night. 1-2 coming. And the curveball hit past the mound, charging Brujan, throwing on the run, and he got him. Side retired. Tong with 3 hitless innings. Mets come up in the 9th. Ruiz with a double and a triple. Owen Casey's driven him in each time, and that's been enough. Yuri Perez pitched well. Andrew Nardi and Michael Peterson got the job done in relief, and now Pete Fairbanks on to try and close it.
Well, so many effective years in the bullpen as a closer for the Tampa Bay Rays. He moves across the state. And even though his ERA is high, he's had a couple of real bad outings. This guy's going to feature 95+ on his fastball, a good breaking pitch and a split.
His walks are up this year. He's averaging over 4 walks per 9 innings. Nick Morabito, Luis Torrens, and Carson Bench, the 3 scheduled hitters for the Mets in the 9th. Mets have been held to 3 hits tonight. Morabito's been up twice, struck out both times in his 2nd career start. And Fairbanks' first fastball rides inside for ball 1. Morabito still looking for that first big league hit. He's gone 0 for 6 to start his career. Third baseman Paulie playing even with the bag at third. And Fairbanks comes up and in, a ball and a strike. Pete Fairbanks, now 32 years old, out of the University of Missouri. First came up with Texas in 2019, but made his bones in Tampa Bay, where he spent 6 seasons. The last 3 as the primary closer for the Rays before signing a 1-year free agent deal with the Marlins. And that fastball crackles in for a strike, and it's 1-2.
Mets have seen a lot of heat tonight.
Morabito and then Torrens and Benj. Bichette due up 4th in the inning. Soto 5th. Marlins pitchers have faced just 1 over the minimum tonight. 1-2 to Morabito. And he struck him out with the fastball. Stayed right with the heat to get the rookie, who strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. 1 down in the 9th. And now we'll get a pinch hitter.
He just went after him with fastballs in and up, just trying to handcuff him inside, and this ball, Morabito was late.
MJ Melendez will bat for Luis Torrens. Melendez was hit by 2 pitches yesterday, which helped him get on base, which has been a problem for him lately. He's 1 for his last 25. But he's got a couple of hits in his career against Fairbanks and looking to run into one here in the 9th. And Melendez takes curveball for a strike, 0-1. Melendez 2 home runs this year. Carson Benj on deck. And he fouls off the fastball in 99, and it's 0-2. After the game here on Pix 11, it's New York Nightcap presented by Nissan. Figgy will be in the studio with Simone co-hosting live from Cleveland with the latest on the crucial Game 3 between the Knicks and Cavs tomorrow night. Nelson Figueroa just celebrated his birthday earlier this week. Happy belated.
Nice. Fairbanks keeps throwing out the baseballs. Wonder if he just, as a veteran reliever, give himself an extra blow.
0-2 to Melendez. And MJ just able to get a piece of that fastball and stay in the at bat. Marlins have lost 12 of their last 18, and mostly it's been because of their pitching. But they've held the Mets to 3 hits tonight. Fairbanks with the 0-2, and it's outside. The Mets leapfrogged the Marlins in the standings with their win yesterday. Marlins trying to move back out of last place if they could hold off the Mets tonight. One-two coming. Change up low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Needs another new ball.
It's a bundle of nerves. 2-2 to MJ Melendez. And he struck him out. Got him with the slider. Toss to first. 2 out.
Well, Melendez sold out for the fastball and gets the local, not the express.
Well, Carson Benj will come up, hoping to hit one a few feet further.
Or pull it.
He's hit 2 to the center field fence. Marcy has made terrific plays each time. A very hard 0 for 3 for Benj tonight. Mets are down to their final out. And Benj takes a fastball away for ball 1. Carson came into this game a red-hot hitter, and he has had a couple of really good at-bats tonight with nothing to show for it. And takes that fastball inside, 2-0. Calm at bat so far for the rookie. Trying to get Bichette to the plate. Fairbanks behind, 2-0. And he gets that fastball in at the knees, and it's 2-1. Remember, the Mets have 2 challenges left. The Marlins have none. And Benj takes a slider up and away, and now it's 3-1. Well, you have to think Fairbanks is confident that he can blow away the rookie with a fastball.
Yeah, I mean, that's the play. If Bichette was hotter, and he is hot right now, he might get one down the middle.
3-1 to Carson Benj. And Carson takes a borderline strike, 3-2.
Well, Blazer hasn't called that pitch the entire at bat, but did right there, 3-1.
So now the Mets are down to their final strike. Marlins fans on their feet. Carson Benj trying to keep this game going with the Mets down a run in the 9th, and Fairbanks again needs a new baseball.
I mean, I get it. I think you're going to see another ball now, Gary. I think you're going to see breaking ball here. Just what he did to Melendez. He's going to try to do it to the youngster.
3-2 coming from Fairbanks to Benj. And Carson takes inside, ball 4, and the Mets have the tying run on base. Boy, that's a really tough take for a rookie with 2 out in the 9th.
I don't know if he took it or the ball just beat him, but it doesn't matter. A mature walk there by Benj.
The first walk the Mets have drawn all night, and it comes with 2 out in the 9th. And it brings up Bo Bichette, who's 0 for 3 tonight, but has 3 home runs on this road trip.
What a game to snatch.
Bichette 2 for 9 in his career against Fairbanks. He's seen him plenty. And takes a fastball inside for ball 1. 2 guys who played most of their career in the American League East. So there's a lot of familiarity here. Benj with outstanding speed at first. Hicks playing in front of him, leaving that right side hole wide open. And Bichette swings out of his socks at that cutter, and it's a ball and a strike. Almost knocked himself over with that swing.
He doesn't need to do this. Just swing like he has been the last week, especially in Washington. Nice controlled.
One from Fairbanks, and he threw a fastball by him, and now again the Mets are down to their last strike.
I don't know if being a youngster he's being conservative, but they are really giving Benj the steal.
So Ewing get thrown out in the last inning. Perhaps that has provided some caution. 1-2 coming to Bichette.
And the reason they're doing that and have Hicks off the bag is because Bichette has tendency, right, to hit the ball to the right side, trying to get him a little more leverage.
1-2 coming. Fly ball, center field. Right there is Marcy waiting. And the Marlins win the opening game of this series. The Mets managed just 3 hits. Juan Soto's home run, the only offense. Minaya and Tong both pitched outstanding in long relief. But the Mets fall in the opening game of this series 2-1.
You know, the Mets have played too many of these games already. In game 51, trying to make a run there late, could not get Soto to the bat. Good pitching, Mets really use kind of three guys that have started a lot in their career with Myers, Minaya, and Tong. They only gave up a couple of runs, but the Mets offense faltered.
So in the first meeting of the year between the Mets and the Marlins leapfrogged back over the Mets and knocked the Mets back into last place, where they had escaped for the first time in May with their win yesterday. Minaya takes the loss. He only allowed 1 run in 3 2/3. Tong with 3 hitless innings in his season debut. Soto homered in the first inning, but that was all for the Mets as they drop a 1-run decision to fall to 6-10 in 1-run games this season. Marlins win this one 2-1. More from Miami coming right up.